Hello, Renee. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. Well, good evening for you. It's
Good
late
evening.
afternoon for me, and it's
It's
evening for you.
almost Friday. It's like 28 minutes to Friday in Poland.
Oh,
And I
wow.
blame it on the bloody people that were fixing my air condition today, and we couldn't talk earlier because I had to fix a lot of things today. A
Yeah.
lot of fixing. It's a fixing, changing. A lot of things are happening today.
But you should be very grateful for your air conditioning, people, because it's very hot everywhere. And without the
In
AC,
Poland.
you would be in trouble. Yes.
Poland is going through some crazy time, with regards to climate. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
I haven't seen that hot in years. It's
Mhm.
seriously very, 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 very hot, and I'm very grateful for the air condition that it's working, finally working, because
Yes.
it was almost impossible to sit in front of a computer, honestly. Yeah,
Climate change is a thing.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a
So
thing.
let me start with congratulating you. I was reading your B2SMB announcement. And I loved his last paragraph. Magic shares our crazy love for small businesses and believes that our success as business to small business enterprise means SMB success. I
Yes.
love it.
I found, like I came across the B2SMB Institute, and we kind of fell in love with each other, with Dave and with the rest of the members. It's a very interesting. I wish I knew about this organization,
Mhm.
when I was at HPE running SMB, because this is really a, a place where people talk about similar challenges they have
Mhm.
addressing the small and medium business space,
Mhm.
and exchange ideas, exchange best practices.
Mhm.
And an institute provides a lot of SMB executives, either in the
Mhm.
large corporations or in the smaller companies that basically focus on SMBs, with best practices, support, but also like partnership. Like
Mhm.
so many partnerships that were
Mhm.
created in Sonoma. I was really blown away. And after the Sonoma, we had a number of conversations with
Mhm.
Dave, and it looks like we have a lot of ideas in common. And he said, like, hey, why don't you come and put those ideas in place together with the B2SMB Institute? And I thought, like, it's a great idea, especially that
Mhm.
a lot of members are willing to put money behind the
Mhm.
SMB segments, and that's a wonderful opportunity. Yes, I'm happy.
Congratulations. Very
Thank
exciting. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, how are you doing, Rene? How is life on your side?
It's great. It's a busy time of year. You would think that being the summer, things would be a little bit slow, but actually, it's very hectic and productive. Sometimes things are hectic and not productive, but right now, things are hectic and productive, which is the best
Okay.
combination. So, yeah, things are great. Thank you.
Today we wanted to talk about it's the second installment and second
Mhm.
episode about the
5 levels.
leadership.
Hmm.
Yeah, the leadership levels. Okay, so
Yes.
I should bring the presentation so it can be visible to everyone.
Yes.
So
And I
let me
didn't
get.
have a backdrop so people could see it, right? This is the book. And you can see that I have the book marked up everywhere. Um,
So you did read it actually.
oh yes, I read it over and over because honestly, as you continue your growth and your career growth and your development, you gain new perspective and you can go back to the same material and now you understand it from a completely different way, right? And I love that we're doing this series. I want to remind people, right? We do this series for free on LinkedIn and we put it up on YouTube. So it's a free access. But what I will say is when you actually take any of the paid courses that I deliver or any of us that offer them, we go into a lot of depth that we just don't have the time to provide here via this medium. So I encourage people that are in a leadership growth journey to really engage with Clean Canvas Consulting. or your favorite leadership coach, but why wouldn't I be your favorite or magic be your favorite? Right? So definitely it's something that I read and I reread, and it's always relevant. But I'm happy that we're able to share it, at least share a little bit of the essence at the high level with our audience. Yes.
Today we're going to talk about the second level from the bottom, right? So last week we spoke about the level of leadership, which is called the position, basically leading from the position of authority, correct?
Yeah. And we love to say at the Maxwell team that it's great to start at the position level, right? You have to start somewhere, but it's not great to stay there, right? So last week, for those of you who didn't watch it, go watch it. Magic and I provided some advice on how to move up from level 1 to level 2. Today, we're going to talk high level about the permission level, and then we'll leave you with some things to try to move from level 2 to level 3.
No, from level 1 to level 2. We're going to talk about the level 1 to level 2 today.
Permission. No.
Yes.
Level.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, okay. So what is the permission level, right? The permission level is basically when you get the permission. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger.
Make it bigger. Yes, make it bigger.
Yes. When people basically permit you to be their leader, it's not about the position anymore. It's not about.
They don't have to follow you. They choose to follow you.
Yes. But I mean, this is like the second layer. So I understand, Renee, that you already have the authority, but then they don't follow you because you have the authority, but they start to follow you because they like you.
Yeah. Yes.
Because they want to, because you have the permission to be their leader.
Right.
And I think this is the layer that you need to, the level that you need to achieve if you really want to start building a kind of a high performance organization. I don't think that just leading from the position of strength is or from the position of authority is something that is going to help you to build a successful organization. And I kind of put together a couple of words on what it means, the permission leadership. Okay, it's about building relationships, about building a trust, a collaboration, being respectful, supportive, approachable, positive. All those areas are super important when you want to become liked by your organization.
Well, in addition, not just liked, right? But people enjoy working with you, right? They have butterflies of excitement rather than butterflies of anxiety, right? There's a big difference when you have this knot in your stomach that you don't want to get up and go to work and deal with your boss, whereas you jump out of bed and you can't wait to talk to your boss. I had a great channel leader. I still talk to him. I think Mr. DeFranco, and I loved working with Stephen. And we would start our day every day with a phone call, short while he was commuting to work. And I loved working with him because he thought outside of the box. He took the time to understand my strengths and would really give me a lot of room. So go back to the trust, right? So we had the relationship. He got to know me and what I was good at. We built trust, and we would openly collaborate. He would include me in his brainstorming, and it was just fun, right? I looked forward to going to work. My energy was always very high, very engaging, even during hard times. So, did you have a boss that you enjoyed working with?
More than one, actually. I think most of the managers that I had at Compaq HP and HPE were the ones that have really paid attention to me, I would say. There were some good bosses that really tried to build the relationship. And building a relationship is trying to understand your team members, trying to understand their situation, their private situation. Sometimes, like only judging them by the numbers is not the best uh,
Approach.
approach. Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, Chuck Smith comes to mind for sure.
Oh,
Oh,
Chuck.
yeah.
Yes.
Brian Humphreys come to mind. He was a
Uh-huh.
great boss for sure.
Mhm.
Zbyszek Filipovich. There were several people that I still remember. I still collected the quotes from them. They
Uh-huh.
really, like they would ask you, how is your family? And they took a genuine interest, because I also remember a boss that called me on my birthday, just out of blue, at eight
Uh-huh.
o'clock in the evening when I was sitting with my family. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that this particular person was just somebody told her 5 minutes ago that I have a birthday. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was like why are you calling me on my birthday? You don't care about my birthday, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
knew that
Exactly.
this particular person didn't give a damn about me.
Hmm.
So there was not a genuine gesture, simply,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, so building a relationship with your employees matters, but genuine ones,
Hmm.
because only if you have a really good relationship, then you can start building a trust with them.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, and that's what I meant by taking a genuine interest
Right.
uh, in your team, because you need to be authentic, you need to be supportive, you need to be reliable, you need to be empathetic.
Hmm.
So again, don't call your employees on their birthday saying, "Hey, happy birthday," if you don't speak to them about their personal life at all for
Hmm.
most of the year. It
Hmm.
just doesn't click together, and people will not trust you. They will
Hmm.
think like it's very odd, and then you're trying to be somebody you are not.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
not gonna help. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I do also want to highlight that there are some potential downsides to this positional level, right? Um, People may feel that you're too soft, right? That you're not focused on results enough, right? So that could be a downside perception. Um, you know, people might take advantage or feel that they can take advantage of your leadership style. People might think that your boss has preference over others, right? Um, so I think that there's two sides to every level, and we want to make sure that people understand that there's both of those. So try to make sure that you're equal, right?
You
Yes.
need to manage that. So this is not all.
Hmm.
I mean, if you do it right, then
Hmm.
people understand you are the boss, but the
Yeah.
one that is respectful, supportive, approachable, positive, and trustworthy, collaborative. But they will
Hmm.
also still understand that you are the boss. Like
Right.
building a
Right.
personal relationship. And for example, one of the things that I really like to do is to stay in touch with my employees through skip level one-on-ones.
Hmm. Hmm.
I I don't think that they treated me as like a just like a friend, like a friendly boss,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
I really took an interest in their personal life. I wanted to
Hmm.
know what's going on, because again, it helps you to understand what you can expect.
Hmm.
I had several employees that were going through the rough time in their life,
Hmm.
and maybe their performance was not great, but if I knew about it, then as a team we could do something about it, and maybe
Yeah.
pull together other resources, and maybe drop some work, and kind of help people to move. I remember even one employee that I inherited from another organization, which was so much trouble from the
Hmm.
personal level, that I actually went to him and I said, "Well, I think you should be taking a package and leaving.
Hmm.
There is actually a layoff, or WFR, what we used to call a
Hmm.
WFR round
Hmm.
going on. I think you should take the package, sort out your private life, and
Hmm.
then uh, maybe take advantage, come back maybe in a few years, or
Hmm.
or find a new job somewhere else. But first, take a package and sort out your private life, because otherwise, you're not going to be very useful. You're going to burn the
Right.
bridge with people and everything. And he took actually my advice, and I know that the rest of the HR team was pretty shocked, because that was one of those countries which was very troublesome from the employee protection point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they went to him and they wanted to talk to him about the package, he said like, no, I spoke with Magic already, and I'm going to take it because it
Yeah.
makes sense for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was very, very, very kind of an example of a situation when I really understood where the problem is, and instead of kind of trying to eliminate a person because of the performance, which was really not really great, I kind of understood that the performance came not from the fact that the guy was not
Skilled or
skilled or
talented.
interested. He just
Mm-hmm.
had a really bad personal situation,
Yeah.
and that approach was just a better solution for him, or a better strategy for him.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's a great example of how, as leaders, right, we can make the right decisions for the business and also do it in a way that's human, that's respectful to the human being, right? That is, in this same chapter, it talks about, being able to have candid conversations, right, with care. And you were very candid with that person, letting him know, hey, you're not performing. I understand why, and let me advise you. This is probably your best route, right? And I think that that is such a wonderful approach, right? To be compassionate and be able to be responsible at the same time to both the company but also the human being, right?
So I agree, Rene, that there might be a perception sometimes that that when you are trying to go to the level of permission,
Mhm.
you will be a softer or less demanding boss.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if I think it's a perception. Once you really master
Yeah.
this kind of a capability or the skill of being a permissive leader, you will
Mhm.
understand that you are not giving away any of your ability to make decisions, drive
Right.
decisions, put the pressure on the system,
Yeah.
demand stuff from people,
Mhm.
but you will do it in a much more efficient and effective way.
Mhm.
That's my
Well,
take on this, Rena.
yeah, and honestly, right, in the cases where, like I mentioned with Stephen, or I had other great bosses at HP and HPE, um, I just didn't want to make them look bad. So I worked extra hard to make sure that they would shine, because I cared not just about my own professional reputation and performance, but about theirs. I never wanted to do anything that would put their leadership in question, right? So I delivered not just because I had to, but because I wanted to give my best for that leader.
Yes. So, but basically, the bottom line: the moment you go into permissive
Hmm.
leadership, permission leadership, you will have an increased engagement. You will have,
Hmm.
I think, you will have an improving performance of your
Yes.
organization, and
Hmm.
definitely a much stronger loyalty of your people.
Yeah. Hands down. Yes.
Okay, so how do we move from the position to permission? And I also prepared a couple of recommendations. I wonder whether
Excellent.
you agree with them, Renat, or
Okay.
maybe
That's why you
Peter.
meant from level 1 to 2. Yes, you're right. You're right. Yes,
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
come in. Yes. Hold on. I'm
Uh,
turning to the right chapter page.
so,
Yes.
as I said, focus on building relationships,
Hmm.
get to know your organization, get to know your team members on a personal level. It means
Hmm.
that you need to be genuinely interested in the well-being of your organization, well-being of your people, which means
Right.
also understanding their family.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that you need to attend the birthday parties of the
Yeah.
kids. Okay, that's not how I mean, if they
Right.
invite you, it's great, but that's not the point.
Hmm.
But even knowing, like the fact that somebody is going through divorce, or somebody is going through,
Hmm.
like is expecting a
Sickness.
baby,
Hmm.
whatever. It just helps you to understand what's going to happen with your organization, with your team, with your team
Mhm.
members. So get to know them on a personal level.
Mhm. Mhm.
Active listening
Yeah.
capability is, I think, super important in this space.
Mhm.
Listen to them, value and express that you value their input, on
Yeah.
the topics that you would like to ask for their support. Mm. And when you say you value their input, this is one of the way of showing the appreciation or recognition. And again, recognizing, rewarding, it's extremely important. And I think there is an art to how you should be rewarding and recognizing people. Once you
Mhm.
possess this art, you can do miracles. And always do it. Always recognize publicly. I
Mhm.
think recognize publicly. Be very specific what the recognition is for, and that's a good way of showing the appreciation of for the work that they do.
Another thing that's important, right? As you really understand and you build the relationship, you listen to them, you get to know their strengths, is invest in them, right? Make sure that you either put them on a special project that gives them more visibility, make sure that you give them access to ongoing education to learn a skill, whether it's a soft skill or a hard skill. Make sure that you yourself are mentoring and coaching them as you go along so that your one on ones are not just about checking off the list of the to do items, but really giving them some timely and meaningful coaching and guidance to help them grow, right? Um, I think those things are also quite important as part of that dynamic.
Absolutely. Okay. And the last kind of recommendation that I'm making is to become a role model, like trying to be the role model. Like
Hmm.
lead by example,
Hmm.
demonstrate the behaviors that you want to see in your team. So, like practice what you preach is extremely important when you're trying to get the permission from your team to be their boss.
Hmm.
Not only be their boss because somebody gave you a title
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah,
position in Outlook.
yeah.
It's like really, really crazy.
Well, and it's important to also, it's not implied in there or listed as a bullet, but have enough trust in your team to be able to say, I don't know the answer to that, or I can't do that on my own, or let's bring the team together and the collective comes up with the solution, right? I think that's another important aspect of the dynamic, as well as you yourself should find a coach as a leader. Leaders always also need safe spaces and people and need to be investing in themselves and growing and find people that they trust to coach them into the next level of whatever they're aspiring to do.
Yes, help them to understand the challenges that they might be having.
Hmm.
And again, I think you bring a very important point, Renee, because in many ways we are only opening a certain Pandora boxes, right?
Hmm.
With our conversations. I think they show that they are meant to show people what the possibilities are. And then
Yeah.
many times, typical leader doesn't have, and I've been coached, I had coaches, even hired by HPE
Hmm.
for my development. Um, Sometimes it's very, very difficult through the amount of work that you do and the amount of activities that you have on your calendar to take the step back
Hmm.
and to have a kind of a independent judgment, because we tend to lock ourselves, and we spoke about the Johari window,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We tend to have blind spots, we have to have some hidden agendas, we tend to have some kind of a challenges to take a step back and look objectively at ourselves.
Hmm.
And I think coach will help you to take a step back. He's not going to judge you, right?
Right now.
It's going to help you to build the right to understand where the problem is and potentially find your own solution,
Hmm.
which otherwise would not be possible.
Yeah. Yes. A great coach will guide you, right? They'll ask you questions that maybe you don't want to ask yourself because you're afraid of the answer, right? Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
so it's important to have someone that holds up that mirror as well, right? And kind of shows you things that maybe, you're like, oh, I don't want to look at that. Or, sometimes too, we see other leaders behave in a certain way and we assume that, well, they tolerate it from that person, so I'm also going to do it, right? And maybe, for me, how I observe that as a woman in a very male dominated environment, I often would see other women humiliate people, right? It happened a lot with salespeople, or if you're with marketing or in sales, and so it would be very open, kind of nasty criticism because they felt they had to be that, I guess. Um, and that's just terrible. It's terrible to be in an environment where you feel you can't be yourself and that you have to, humiliate other people to assert your positional authority. And that's just, a very limiting leadership style that I would not recommend to anyone of any gender.
Next week, another installment. Renee,
Yes.
I might be at the seaside because tomorrow.
Again
No,
on vacation. Oh my goodness, magic.
I'm in Europe. Europeans take a lot of vacation. I'm
I
sorry.
know, I know. I should move. I should
I'm
move.
going to drop my kids off to the seaside. They're gonna spend some time with the grandma, and I might stay a couple of days. But nevertheless, on Thursday we are
We're
scheduled to
gonna do.
talk about the level 3. Okay.
Yes, which is the production level. And I love it, right? Because at the end of the day, as a leader, you're responsible for results and you need to deliver those results consistently. And that is going to be a great discussion, right? Because we just talked about relationship and now we're going to take those relationships and put that to the test and make sure we're producing.
Results.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Renee. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll speak soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.